Imagine a high-stakes naval exercise in the Java Sea. The Indonesian president is watching. A Chinese-made C-705 missile is the star of the show. The order is given. The countdown ends. But instead of a streak of fire, there is nothing. The missile fails to launch. Then minutes later, it fires spontaneously, splashing harmlessly into the water like a spent firework. This isn't just a technical glitch. It's a strategic metaphor. Across Southeast Asia, from the ports of Thailand to the air bases of Myanmar, nations are grappling with a paradox. They are buying advanced weaponry from the very power they are trying to deter. On paper, the deal is irresistible. Chinese hardware is 50% cheaper, comes with no human rights lectures, and includes local production promises that Western firms often refuse. But for Washington and its allies, the real story isn't about the sale, it's about the buyer's remorse that follows. What looks like a bargain today is becoming a strategic trap of maintenance nightmares, grounded fleets, and technological dependency tomorrow. Why is the Walmart of weaponry failing in the Indo-Pacific? And why does this regret quietly change the calculus for U.S. defense planners? Let's interrogate the logic of the Chinese arms trap. To understand this trend, we have to look at the numbers. Over the last decade, China has aggressively pushed into the Southeast Asian defense market. Countries like Thailand, Myanmar, and Malaysia have signed deals for everything from submarines and frigates to main battle tanks and fighter jets. The logic for these capitals was simple. Defense budgets are tight, and Western hardware, like the American F-35 or German submarines, comes with a massive price tag and a mountain of political conditions. Beijing offered a shortcut. They promised high-end capabilities at low-end prices, with no lectures on domestic policy. But for the Pentagon and its allied planners, this shift wasn't just about market share. It raised a core strategic question. If your closest partners are filling their hangars with Chinese technology, does that make them uninteroperable with the US-led security system? We are now seeing the answer. The initial excitement of these bargain buys is hitting a wall of reality. From engines that don't arrive to radars that don't see, the core question has shifted from how much can we save to can we actually defend our sovereignty with this?
The first issue is what defense planners call the black box problem. When Myanmar bought the JF-17 Thunder, a joint Chinese-Pakistani fighter, they expected a budget-friendly backbone for their air force. Instead, they got a fleet of expensive paperweights. Structural cracks and malfunctioning radars have reportedly grounded the majority of these jets. For US and allied militaries, this confirms a long-held suspicion. Chinese hardware lacks the total life cycle support that Western systems provide. Buying a fighter jet isn't a one-time purchase, it's a 40-year marriage. When Beijing fails to provide the high-end sensors or spare parts, it creates a hollow force, a military that looks formidable on a parade ground, but collapses during a week of high-intensity operations. Then there is the engine crisis, best seen in Thailand's submarine saga. After years of delays, Bangkok was forced to accept Chinese-made engines for their S-26T submarines because Germany refused to export the original high-performance ones. This isn't just a mechanical downgrade, it's a strategic shift. From a U.S. defense perspective, if Thailand's most advanced naval assets are powered and maintained entirely by Beijing, it complicates future joint exercises like Cobra Gold. You cannot fully integrate sensitive American sonar or communication data with a platform that is effectively a Chinese extension in Thai waters. Finally, we have the interoperability dead end. Take Malaysia's experience. They bought Chinese littoral mission ships, LMS, for their low cost, only to find them underarmed and technically limited. For their second batch, Malaysia pivoted, choosing Turkish-made corvettes built to NATO standards. This signals a growing realization among regional powers. Saving 30% on the sticker price is a bad deal if it cuts you off from the US and allied security umbrella. In modern warfare, data is the ammunition. If your Chinese-made radar cannot talk to a US Navy destroyer or a Japanese P-8 Poseidon, you aren't just isolated, you are invisible to your allies. For Washington, this buyer's remorse is an opportunity to reassert that Western technology isn't just about the machine, it's about the network.
The uncomfortable truth is that Southeast Asian nations aren't buying Chinese weapons because they believe they are superior. They are buying them as a hedge. For decades, Western military aid has been tied to political stability and human rights standards. When a coup happens or a government shifts, Washington cuts off the parts. Beijing, on the other hand, never asks questions. But this strategy is backfiring. By choosing the easy path of Chinese procurement, these nations are making a massive strategic error. They are saving money on the sticker price, but they are paying in sovereignty. In a real crisis, a tank that can't communicate with your allies or a jet that stays grounded because of a software lockout is worse than having no weapon at all. For a nation like Thailand or Indonesia, the small saving today is creating a permanent diplomatic liability tomorrow. Here is the non-obvious insight. China isn't trying to build a better fighter jet than the F-35. They don't have to. What they are building is a proprietary ecosystem. Think of it like a smartphone operating system. Once your pilots are trained in Chinese academies, your engineers are using Chinese diagnostic tools, and your ships are linked to Chinese satellites, you are locked in. This is platform colonization. If you want to switch back to Western tech, you can't just buy a new ship. You have to retrain your entire officer corps and rebuild your entire data infrastructure from scratch. For Washington, this is the real battlefield. The Pentagon isn't just competing against Chinese hardware, it's competing against a digital and logistical web that aims to make US intervention technically impossible. The regret we see in Myanmar or Malaysia isn't just about broken parts, it's the realization that they've handed the keys to their national defense to the very neighbor they share a disputed border with. The Walmart of weaponry doesn't just sell you a gun, it sells you a permanent dependence.
The pattern is becoming clear. From the grounded jets in Myanmar to the engineless submarines in Thailand, the allure of cheap and easy defense is fading. For Southeast Asian capitals, the initial savings are being swallowed by the long-term costs of operational failure and strategic paralysis. For Washington and its allies, this trend offers a window of opportunity. The goal now is to prove that the U.S. security umbrella offers something Beijing cannot: reliability, transparency, and a network that actually functions when the first shot is fired. The buyer's remorse is real, but the lock-in is harder to break. If you were a defense minister in the Indo-Pacific, would you take the cheap jet that might stay on the ground, or the expensive one that comes with a permanent Western alliance? If you found this strategic breakdown insightful, subscribe to Minh Quan Story International Edition. Should we analyze the recent shift in Philippine maritime defense strategy next? Let us know in the comments.